Hey everyone, Sarah Strackhouse here. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm here live with Dr. J with, of course, the man of the hour, Dr. Johnson. How are you?
Just fine. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too. We have coordinating red here. It looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thought ahead a little bit today.
Yeah, there you go. Well, today we're actually talking about toxins. So maybe you're getting ready to go out on a date and you're thinking some nice perfume might be nice, but you don't want your date to start sneezing or something, right?
Exactly. And those people who are sensitive or hypersensitive to different scents and fumes, perfumes can be a problem. And they have many different products in them that create the scent that they give off. And people can become allergic to it, where they break out when they put it on their body.
That would be a horrible date night.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be favorable for sure. Or people can have allergic type reactions or irritative reactions where they sneeze with the smell of perfume, get headaches is frequent, or they may have itchy nose, watery eyes, tearing, which all those things can be quite irritating to someone that's around you.
What are some other, a lot of times you talk about a lot of toxins that are in your home that you might not realize are making you feel bad or feel sick, or normal household products. Can you tell me some of the other ones that you really hear frequently?
Well, just in general, the scented products can be irritating, whether it's scented candles, whether it's plug-ins, whether it's the scented bounce or the scented products.
Which I have for my car.
Or spray for your car. They could be irritants, and some of them are actually sensitizers, like the terpenes, which is pinene or limonene, which they put in different scented products, can sensitize you over a period of time to make you more allergic to other things, including the pollens and the dust and the molds. So you want to be careful about use of those. Prefer not using those in a house. And if people are using them, you kind of want to ask why. If it's not your house, are they covering up some scent? Are they covering up, carpet odor?
Dog hair?
Yeah, dog scent, animal scents. Or are they covering up mold, damp, indoor environment type situations, which can really be harmful to your health, where the mold grows, it hides behind the walls. It produces a chemical, which is a neurotoxin, which is called mycotoxin, and that can affect your brain because they're neurotoxins. They affect the brain, the nervous system, so they can cause fatigue, fuzzy thinking, numbness, tingling, nausea.
All from a little bit of mold.
All from the mold, the black mold that produces the toxin. So you want to ask questions if things don't smell right, or if you're having symptoms. Don't stick around, get out, then find out what's going on, instead of stay there and have more exposure and then say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Just leave and then find out.
So what are some of the symptoms that we should really look out for when it comes to mold? Will you start to see immediate itching or scratching or asthma? Or is it something you need to look out for in your home? Will you start to see it on the cabinets or something like that? How do you tell if you have it?
Well, typically mold will only grow in damp conditions. So you either have to have a water leak, and they may be known water leaks where you had a pipe rupture and they didn't clean it up appropriately, or you may have just where in building someone put a screw in a water pipe and it finally rusted and started to leak just a little bit, and slowly over a period of time, and you have moisture and then mold grows. It can be that from under the sink where you have the drain pipe leaking, the washer machine overflows, or you have roof leaks where the roof is not put on properly, or it's just got damaged, and then you have water coming down walls that you really don't notice. Typically people will notice a water leak in their ceiling, but if it's over where a wall is or a closet, they tend to ignore that. And I've had people come in and say, well, I really feel bad. And you start to ask questions about their closet. They say, oh, yeah, I had some mold growing in my shoes. Not good.
Yeah. No. So what kind of mold do you really have to be nervous about? You know, is it a little bit of the browning, or can you just clean that off? Or do you only have to worry when you see that real black mold?
Well, the one that you're really concerned about is the mold that gets behind things, because it's the black mold that grows there. It doesn't like light very well, so underneath floors, in cabinets, behind drawers, in the walls, under shower pans. In the shower, we hear a lot of people have trouble with their shower pans because they leak, and then they grow mold underneath it because of the water leak and dampness. There is mildew that doesn't produce the toxins. Some people have trouble with it, but that's like what grows in the seams in your shower, and it scrubs right off when you scrub it. So if you get that, either you're having too damp an environment in your bathroom and you don't have a good vent, or you aren't cleaning frequently enough, or the grout's not been sealed and water particles stick in it, and then you get the little mildew growth.
Yeah. How interesting. Well, what about, you're talking about kind of cleaning this. We have some cleaning products here. This is something, that you have here that you work with. Can you talk about some products maybe that we should be using, or even things, to really be getting rid of any kind of mold that you might see if you don't have to call in an expert?
Yes, first from the cleaning product standpoint, most of the patients that I see that are allergic want to use non-scented products, and say look for non-scented products. There's a whole host of use for vinegar.
And that's what's in here, right?
That's what's in this clear bottle is vinegar and water. You can go on the internet and Google vinegar uses, and it gives you a whole host of ways to use it, from cleaning glass to cleaning up the kitchen, from laundry aspect, setting colors in laundry and so forth. So there's a whole bunch of different ways. So educate yourself about that process.
Does it work just as well as, something else? Like, let's say I'm using it to clean a counter, like a Lysol or something, a Pine Sol or something like that.
It depends on what you're trying to do.
Okay.
It's good for cleaning, but depending upon what the conditions are. If you're trying to sterilize something, then something like Clorox or antibacterial substance, it doesn't really do that. But if you're clean and use soap and water, non-scented soap, then that really cleans up most things quite well. If you have areas where there's been spoilage, then you have to use a more stringent cleaning product, such as a chlorine type solution. If you use that, chlorine is an irritant, and so you want to use it in a well ventilated area. And in other words, open up the doors, windows, use it in the correct dilution that you're supposed to use it, and then clean it up with water afterwards.
Okay. I didn't even, I would have never thought of that, to clean it up with water after actually cleaning the area.
Well, it gets the residue off, and then it cuts down on the scent. Do not mix chlorine and ammonia together. It produces a toxin, a toxic gas, and people get sick from that.
Oh, wow. You told me.
Yeah, that's just one thing you don't want to do. I've had people that said, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that works very well, and then they get sick from it. So you got to be careful with it. I'm holding my hand, a hand lotion, non-scented. It's Aveeno. It works well. Different people, though, may react to what's in the cream and how it's made. So everyone's a little individualistic in what they will react to. So you just have to try things, but start with the non-scented products first.
So are there any, I'm going to double check here and make sure we have the comments going. Are there any other kind of toxins that you really frequently see, or any other, things that people come in and talk to you about, that we haven't touched on yet? And those who are just joining in, Dr. Johnson, and we're talking a little bit about toxins in your home, stuff that you might not even realize might be making you feel badly.
Well, one of the big things is in the South we have bugs, and a lot of people don't like bugs. They don't hurt much, but they are scary to some people. Usually you want to try to use non-toxic substances in the home for that.
You mean I can't pour a gallon of toxic stuff when I see a spider? Is what you're saying I shouldn't do.
You definitely don't use outside bug spray in the house, and you want to use non-toxic things in the house. So they have bug traps that you can use. You can get boric acid, which is safe to use inside. Years ago, we saw a lot of people that were sick from organophosphate type products that were used in the home. It affects the nervous system.
What exactly is that?
Well, it's like Dursban is the brand name of it, one type of organophosphate. And they would spray inside, and they'd spray the cupboards, it'd get on your dishes and in your bed, and that was not a good situation. They banned the use of it indoors. So you want to make sure that whatever you're using indoors is meant for indoors. Use it as the label says. And they now have things that are labeled natural products, like perithrums is from chrysanthemums. So it's natural, but they have synthetic ones also. So you want to be careful of what you're using, not spray it in the cupboards where your dishes are or where your clothes are. And try the natural things first. And if you have bugs, they're coming in for some reason. So either there's holes where they're getting in, leaks under the door, and they're trying to either pick up crumbs or that type of thing. So really look at how to clean. Carpets can be a problem too, in that they collect all kinds of debris. And so you have to sweep the carpets frequently, use a HEPA filter vacuum. That way you won't spread what you're sweeping up around. It collects the dust and the dust particles from that standpoint. The best thing to have in your home is hard surface floors.
I've always told my husband that. I've always said that, I don't want carpets in our home. And he's like, no, carpets are comfortable, then your feet don't get cold. But I think it's so much easier to clean, isn't it?
Oh, exactly, and to keep clean. And so, yeah, you need to just buy some good slippers.
Yeah, there you go. There's an option. All right, I'm going to tell him that tonight. Maybe a Valentine's Day gift, right?
Exactly. And then, frankly, if you're one of those real sensitive people, it makes sense not to wear your outside shoes inside.
Basic stuff like that you don't think could make such a big difference, but, I'm sure you've seen it. For how many years have you been in practice?
Oh, I've been 40 years, and you see all kinds of things. But if you have sprayed outside or someone sprayed your yard, you walk through the yard, you track that stuff inside. And so it makes sense to have indoor slippers that you wear and leave your shoes outside. In the farm and in the country, we have mud rooms, which is a little anteroom to the house where you leave all your outside clothes, including your shoes, and you slip into your indoor slippers or shoes. And it helps keep the indoors clean, and you aren't having such a mess inside.
And, it's little stuff like that you kind of just forget are basic common practices that you should be following. Are there any other kind of tips like that you have for people that you might think, oh, well, duh, everyone knows to do this, but you just forget sometimes or get lazy or you're busy and just kind of don't have your head, wrapped around what you should be doing?
Well, one of the other things is pets. And so you get pets. Pets have dander, which you become allergic to, but you let pets outdoors. And if you have a kind of a messy yard, they get mud on their feet and so forth, and you got to clean their feet. Well, now in the dog catalogs, they have doggy booties. So if you have one of those yards and you're all the time trying to clean the dog's feet, just slip the booties on him and let him run around outdoors, and then take them off when you come in, and you can wash the booties and keep them clean. So
that is such good advice. We have a Bernese Mountain Dog, and he's a digger, so we're constantly trying to get his feet clean and dipping them in water and cleaning them off. So I didn't even realize you could do that.
Yeah, the trouble is they're diggers to try to keep the booties on them outdoors. But I've actually taken duct tape and taped them on.
Okay, so, I'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I use booties on the hunting dogs when we're out hunting, and so if you tape them on, they typically don't come off and you don't lose them.
Well, I'll definitely keep that in mind for next time that I let my boys out. Is there any other? Are there any other toxins in the home? You know, I always think I have, you know, dry shampoo and hairspray, stuff that's kind of basic like that. Are those safe to have in the house? I mean, when I spray my hair, you know, it could be getting on my skin or this or that, and I've never had a bad reaction, but over time, is that something you've seen develop?
It can, and it depends on the individual and just, you know, what their genetics is like. If they have a whole family of sensitive people in their genetics, then yes, they have to be a little more careful, and they'll notice that different odors or scents bother them. And so, like hairspray, there's non-scented hairspray, but it still has different products in it that does what it's supposed to do. So, in spray items, you don't want to breathe those in. So, if you're spraying, you want to hold your breath so you aren't getting in your lungs and in your airways, because it can be irritant. And
or even a window or something open.
Yeah, well, and then use it in a well-ventilated area. Now, you talk about windows, and that brings up another topic about just people that are pollen sensitive. And so we have pollens that are seasonal. So you have like trees and grasses in the spring, and weeds in the fall, ragweed in the fall and late summer, and then mountain cedar in the winter here in Texas. So those people that are allergic to those items, you want to keep your windows shut, and then have good air filters on your furnace, whether you're in air conditioning mode or heating mode, and then change those frequently. But you want to use the high quality ones that really filters out the pollens. That'll keep the inside cleaner, you'll feel better. And then if you have additional problems, you can always get a room HEPA filter, which will help take out whatever does get inside, and including the cat dander, the dog dander, and that type of thing. People are sensitive to dust mites, and that's another little critter that's in the house.
These critters got to get out.
Yeah, but they live off your skin flakes, so off of what you shed. Yeah. And we all shed. And so it's in your bedding, in the carpet, in the bedroom mainly. And if you are sensitive to those, then you have to change your sheets frequently, change your pillowcase frequently, sweep frequently if you have carpet in the bedroom to keep the dust mites down.
And some of the HEPA filters that you were kind of talking about, some of these other options, can you get these at normal stores? Do you have to specifically buy them online or specialty order? Or is this something you can just get at your average grocery store?
No, you probably have to get them from online. They have all kinds. There's in Dallas, we have Allergy and More store, which is up on Campbell Road. They have different types of air filters, and there's different manufacturers around the country that manufacture HEPA filters that you can look at their data related to how efficient they are, what all they have. You want to be careful about leaving something that produces ozone on all the time, and it's part of some of the air filters. It creates that sweet smell. Yeah. That can be irritating to your mucous membranes. So if people are going to use that to help cut down on odors, I suggest they do that while they aren't present, and then turn it off when they are present. If you do too much ozone in a house and you're trying to cut down on odors in it, you actually can deteriorate materials, curtains, drapes. It breaks down the barrier on paints, and so they can deteriorate faster if you do too much. Right. So there's a fine line between getting rid of the odor and degrading or destroying different products in your house.
And making new odors.
Making new problems, yes, yes.
Well, is there anything else that you get asked frequently, or you really think that people need to hear when it comes to stuff that might be making them feel bad in their own home?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that they are aware of what's going on. So many people just tend to ignore the situation. So pay attention to what you're doing, what you're using, read the labels. If you're starting to do something and you feel bad, say you spray whatever product is and it gives you a headache, then stop that, pay attention. You may want to try it again if it's not too bad, see whether it really was that, but be somewhat scientific, deductive about your daily processes and what's going on. I know one time I bought new sheets and they were dyed a special way. I got in bed and started itching and got out and said, man, this can't be. Got back in, started itching again, washed those things 10, 12 times, still caused itching. So they got given away.
Right.
I hope the next person
Someone else.
itches bad. But yeah, you got to pay attention. That's just an example of doing some research on your own with what you're using and then reading about it so you understand what the product is.
And if people have questions, maybe they've done research or they're just not sure exactly what to do, what advice, how can they contact you and what advice would you give them?
Well, they can contact us through our website, johnsonmedicalassociates.com. There's a place there to contact us in that. And I think that's probably the best way. We have an office number if you need more help. You can call the office 972-479-0400. And the front desk will be happy to answer and see if there's questions we can help you with. The website is a great help, though.
Well, wonderful. Let me double check that we have all the questions answered here. Let me swipe that way. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Johnson. And next week, so we wanted to do something special. Next week, we want to ask you what you are interested in hearing about. He's been, like you said, in practice for 40 years. There's a litany of or a plethora of subjects that he can kind of go through and talk about, answer all the questions. So comment below. Let us know what you want to talk about. You can ask your questions live here, right? So tons of subject. We talked about allergies last week. We're talking about toxins or just stuff in your home that you might not realize might be making you sick. So thank you so much for joining us. And any other last words for people who are watching here?
Happy Valentine's Day.
There you go. Happy Valentine's Day. All right. Well, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Remember, we do this every 2 weeks on Wednesday at 1 p.m. live with Dr. J. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.